Rachel Reeves just made an announcement that they have appointed a pandemic corruption commissioner. I want to talk about why this is not for the taxpayers' benefit and will achieve absolutely nothing. First, have a listen to what she said.
Our country is still paying the price for the sheer recklessness with which the Tories responded to the COVID-19 pandemic after they wasted millions of pounds on faulty PPE and COVID loan schemes. Today, we begin the urgent work to recoup the money which went into the hands of fraudsters, as we appoint Tom Hayhoe as the very first COVID counter-fraud commissioner. Fraudsters who sought to make a profit off a national emergency should not get away with it. Unlike the Conservatives, this Labour government will not turn a blind eye to rip-off artists. Before the election, we promised to appoint a fixed-term commissioner and use every means possible to recoup public money lost in pandemic-related fraud from contracts which have not been delivered. We've kept our promise, and now the work starts to put this money, which belongs to the British people, back into our public services, to fix our NHS, repair crumbling classrooms, and to put more police on the street.
So will they recover more money than they spend, if anything at all? Is this really an exercise about recovering our money? Or is it all about dragging out an investigation over years in order to constantly pull out details at key moments? Just looking at the timing of this announcement will tell you everything you need to know. It's time to create bad press for the Conservatives just before Starmer's big government reset announcement on Thursday. Tom Hayhoe, who will be on a salary of £84,000 for 3 days work a week, will also control a no doubt huge team of civil servants below him at taxpayers' expense. It will be just throwing good money after bad. So you're probably thinking, why would you be against exposing corruption in the Conservative Party? Well, I'm not at all. I think they should be held accountable. I just don't trust Labour to be the ones to do it. Look, if this is genuinely about corruption, why don't they start by tackling the corruption that is taking place right now under their own watch? Just look at Liz Kendall, the pension secretary. She helped stop the winter fuel payment for pensioners whilst living in a £4 million house and allegedly has a combined salary of around £700,000. But she still made us, the public, pay for her energy bill at her second home. Just looking at this article in the Daily Mail, it says Liz Kendall has been branded a hypocrite for removing the payment for 10 million pensioners while bills at her second home are being met from the public purse. The most recent documents held by Commons showed she claimed a total of £3,810 in energy costs between April 2023 and July this year, with the largest monthly bills totaling £352. And Nigel Farage has come out to say the hypocrisy of the Labour government knows no bounds. And he also goes on to say, I will be not claiming a penny in expenses for my heating. So I think if you want to go back and point the finger at Conservatives for doing the wrong thing, then you need to start doing the right things yourselves. Now, what Liz Kendall did probably doesn't meet the definition of corruption, but it is legalised taxpayer robbery. And how can she deny pensioners fuel payments, pensioners who are barely scraping by, and at the same time claim for her payments for her fuel on her second home, not even her main residence? There needs to be a full inquiry into MPs' expenses. If you want to means test poor pensioners, then MPs, they should be means tested for their expenses. So don't believe Rachel Reeves. Not that anyone would believe her. I mean, she is the one that fabricates stories on her CV, and she also posts things like this. I'll never forget a woman in Leeds West I spoke to who had purple fingers because her pension wasn't enough to pay for the heating. We must act now. Act now to do what, Rachel? Finish her off completely so she's not around in 5 years to vote against you? But back to what I was saying. Don't believe Rachel Reeves. This is not an exercise in moral integrity. It is not an exercise to claw back taxpayer money. I doubt we will ever see any of the money lost actually recovered. Most of it is sitting in unused equipment and unusable PPE equipment, and it has no monetary value by now. What this is an information gathering exercise to attempt to find as much sleaze and corruption that they can so they can use it against the Conservative Party. They will no doubt keep drip feeding us this information and then plan for a big data drop come election time. And that's exactly what I believe this is all about. It has nothing to do with trying to recoup taxpayer money. But this exercise, it isn't going to work as they planned. Anyway, it will backfire big time for the Labour Party. And looking at Rachel Reeves' expression in that video, you can almost tell that she knows it. I'm sure this investigation will find lots of let's just call it bad money management when it came to pandemic funds. I'm sure not all of it was intentionally corrupt. After all, I mean, we were in a pandemic and most of the politicians, they were running around like headless chickens. But the reason this will backfire for Labour is because it could have a negative impact on Conservatives come election time. But Conservatives are not the problem for Labour. Reform is the party that Labour need to be scared of. And by Labour throwing mud at the Conservatives, this could just end up pushing further support towards the Reform Party. Conservative support has stalled out since the initial jump from Kemi Badenoch taking over as leader, and Labour support continues to collapse, hence the Great Reset on Thursday. But Reform support, it's continuing to grow. Thank you all for watching. Please like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you think about this.